He shoved a rubber bomb underneath the railroad tracks, then connected the detonation wire. After that, he buried everything under gravel. No one would be able to discover it. Finally, he grabbed the detonator and hid in a nearby grove of trees. His goal was to blow up the German military's supply train. But as the train drew closer and closer, he hesitated. There were actually hostages tied to the front of the locomotive. To avoid harming them, Jimmy could only detonate the bomb early. This also gave the engineer enough time to react. In the end, the train was stopped before reaching the detonation point, so the train didn't derail. So now the German forces only had to repair the tracks, and they could keep moving. Mission failed. Jimmy could only activate Plan B, but it wasn't going very smoothly. Because of the earlier explosion, the German commander had already sent out a large number of soldiers to search the entire forest. Even though Jimmy had a very serious leg injury, he was still gritting his teeth and pushing through. Fortunately, he was quite familiar with the terrain around here. After rolling down a steep slope, he finally reached the tool shed by the tracks. Jimmy took out a wrench from inside and unscrewed the bolts on the rail one by one. But being so focused, he didn't notice that several patrolling soldiers were getting closer and closer to him. Worse yet, the tracks had already been repaired, and the train was speeding toward him. After hearing the train whistle, Jimmy sped up his movements. Besides loosening the screws, he also used a hammer to knock out all the spikes securing the rails. Fortunately, the sound of the moving train was loud enough to cover the hammering sounds. Otherwise, he definitely would have been heard by the soldiers. After everything was done, Jimmy dragged his injured leg and hid in the grass nearby. But these few soldiers were still patrolling. Seeing the small shed ahead, they quickened their forward steps. If the parts on the ground were discovered, not only would this mission completely fail, but Jimmy would also very likely get caught. Fortunately, at the critical moment, the train coming from behind arrived at that spot. They had no choice but to give up walking and boarded the train. But the German commander was still very cautious. He quickly climbed up to the engine and looked through his binoculars, spotting the dismantled track ahead. But it was already too late. The train was only a few meters from the trap. Wanting to stop quickly was completely impossible. The massive friction caused the train to derail instantly and stop on the pile of gravel.